Boo bitches! Welcome to episode 101 of C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm River.
And I'm Ren.
And today we're going to start talking about shadow work.
Dun, dun,
We have
dun.
we've been talking about doing this for a while,
Yeah,
but it's such an in-depth topic that we were reluctant to tackle it, but we're going to try.
we're
So,
gonna try. And I will say it's not at all what I thought it was gonna be.
yeah, I knew what it was. So I mean, when I first heard shadow work, I thought, oh, it's working with shadows as the magic,
Mm-hmm.
magic of shadows.
That's not what I
But
thought it was.
as I became an older person, a human,
Wiser.
a wiser person,
Mm,
I realized, oh no, that's not what it's about. What did
yeah.
you think it was?
I don't know. I just thought it was part of like a darker side, of
Mm,
magic where you work with not shadows directly, but like darker
with darker
entities or
entities.
something like
Okay.
that. Like I guess that's the best way you could put what I thought it was going to be about.
Okay. It is working with darker entities, but it's darker entities within yourself.
Within yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
But
Okay,
first.
first, yes, first, what are we drinking? So we came up with a drink called the Summer Sigil, which is quite refreshing.
Hmm.
It is vodka, lime, soda water, or tonic water, or you can do regular sparkling water if that's what you want. A splash of orange juice with a lime and an orange for a garnish. It's a lighter drink, which is
Hmm.
great for this heavy heat that we've got
Oh,
going
it
on right
really
now.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
So that is what we're drinking, and it's tasty.
It's delicious.
And what is shadow work? So it's where we work on our deepest, most intimate selves. As Leo Tolstoy said, all the beauty in life is made up of light and shadow. And we have to accept both and to really be able to see the beauty in life.
Oh, that's actually really nice.
Yeah, I found that. I mean, I've read him before, but
Yeah.
anyway, I loved that quote.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a nice quote. I mean, you always have the people who are always battling between like in themselves, and that
Mhm.
pretty much sums that up. But
Mhm.
shadow work is psychological concept rooted in the works of Swiss physiciatrist. Psych-
Psychiatrist.
I'm already starting psychiatrist. I said physicist, psychiatrist in one.
And
No,
it came out.
psychiatrist.
Yes.
Yes,
Wow.
Carl Jung, and further developed by other psychologists and therapists.
Yeah.
So it refers to the process of exploring and integrating the hidden or unconscious aspects of oneself, which are often referred to as the shadow,
Mhm.
which I think is kind of cool. And so the
Mhm.
shadow consists of parts of our personality, emotions, desires, and thoughts that we have suppressed, denied, or rejected due to social conditioning, upbringing, or personal experiences.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect definition.
Hmm.
Shadow work can lead us into the underworld of our souls, into an exploratory journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
Hmm.
And you might wonder, why do we call it shadow? That implies darkness. I'm not dark. I'm a good
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
Okay, so the reason why the shadow mainly why we call it shadow is because it mainly contains what we would consider the negative things that many of us do tend to, like you said, deny, suppress, or reject.
Hmm.
We suppress all of that. If we're greedy and we want something, we're like, oh, that's not right, and we suppress that.
Yeah, yeah.
And the shadow is our darker side. That's the darker side of our personality because it consists mainly of a series of primitive and negative human
Hmm.
emotions and
Hmm.
impulses like anger or envy or greed or selfishness, desire, and struggle for power. All of us
Yeah.
want those things,
Hmm.
but we're taught that we shouldn't want
We
those
shouldn't.
things.
Yeah.
And so we suppress it and we're like, I'm not like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that causes problems.
Yeah.
So, everything we deny in ourselves, whether we perceive as inferior, evil, or unacceptable, becomes a part of this shadow. So everything that is incompatible with our conscious attitude, our conscious mind knows, and what we choose to be, all of that stuff is relegated to the dark side. And that's why we call it shadow, because it is a darker side of ourselves.
That's exactly it. And I know we talked about doing this as a after dark episode because it is a little bit of a quote unquote darker topic. But as I started researching it, I think shadow work is it's not dark at all. It's
human. It's what every one of us has this.
Yeah. So we thought it would be fitting to do it as a normal episode instead of an after dark, because everybody deals with this. Everybody struggles with dealing with their inner thoughts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the idea behind shadow work is that acknowledging, that understanding and accepting those hidden aspects of ourselves and how that can lead to personal growth and self-awareness and a greater sense of wholeness.
Yeah.
So ignoring or repressing those shadow aspects can result in inner conflicts, emotional struggles, and behavioral patterns that we might not fully understand. And I know I should probably work on this a little bit, because I do have some not anger problems. That's not it at all. But I do tend to snap to anger quickly in certain situations rather than...
You have a short fuse sometimes. Yeah.
And so why? I don't know why I have that. I don't know if it's because of things around me, and I've never used to have that before. So is it what's situational? Yeah. So I could do some shadow work for sure. So
I think everybody should.
I think everybody can. And shadow work is often done through various therapeutic techniques, including psychotherapy, mindfulness practices, dream analysis, and inner dialogue. So it's not a one-time process. It's an ongoing journey of self-discovery and self-improvement.
Which takes a long time.
Oh, so long. Like, you have people who are continuously working on themselves, and then you have such a long journey ahead of you. Like, you're never stopping.
And sometimes life happens and you got to deal with that, and you can't give time to yourself like you need to. But you do need to come back to it. It's a never-ending thing.
Yeah, it's a never-ending thing. So while shadow work can be challenging and uncomfortable, it can lead to profound insights and positive changes in your life. Shadow work in the context of witchcraft is a practice that aligns with the psychological concept, but it's often approached from a spiritual and magical perspective. So in this context, shadow work is a form of inner exploration and personal development within the framework of magical and spiritual practices.
I like that.
Yeah, it involves delving into the hidden or unconscious aspects of oneself in order to gain insight, heal, which is very important, and grow on both psychological and a magical level.
Yeah, because I think that everybody, even non-witches, should be doing shadow work. It's a human thing, not necessarily a witch thing. But I like how you tied it to witchcraft. And I agree with that. And one of the sites that I used for my research, the magicalspot.com, they have a great definition as it applies to witchcraft. They said, shadow work in witchcraft means that you explore and acknowledge yourself to a whole new level. You find even the most hidden feelings, emotions, and memories, and you bring them to the surface in an attempt of becoming a whole.
Okay. See, I like that, because sure, you can say shadow work, of what we're calling shadow work, is like mental health or just going through therapy and understanding, obviously the darker side of you, but understanding you as a whole, why you feel the way you do based on past experiences. And so some people just say, oh, I'm in therapy, I'm working on myself. And then if you work into shadow work and working in it with witchcraft and how you can better yourself, witchcraft wise, magical wise, and self wise, all at the same time.
What would be great would be able to find a psychiatrist or psychologist who is also a witch to help you go through this.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be cool.
that would take you to a deeper level.
Yeah, it
But
would.
there always comes up the question of how do you have negative stuff? I'm a good person. What are these supposed hidden things?
Yeah.
Okay, well, think about how we were treated as we grew up, especially in terms of grown-ups, but also in terms of friends, acquaintances, TV shows, everything,
Yeah.
anything that you were
Yeah.
exposed to. If you acted silly in class, a teacher might have shamed you in front of all your friends. And, that taught you, oh, being playful or silly or bold is a bad thing.
See, that's really sad. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think about those things on a day-to-day level. I'm not like, oh, that instance when that happened changed my perspective and made me
Hmm.
bottle things up, and that's why blah blah blah.
And that's why you
So
need to explore this,
yeah.
because you've hidden that. You don't want to remember when a teacher
Hmm.
shamed you like that.
Yeah, no.
You know, um, it was all about receiving signals from our environment and what the environment was saying was bad or good, and
Yeah.
how those signals touched us. Was it a positive reaction, a negative reaction? And that developed into what we pushed into our shadow selves. We
Hmm.
adapted
Hmm.
ourselves to our environment based on the interactions and reactions people had to our behavior. And so we suppressed the things that we were taught were, quote, bad.
Hmm.
So the shadow is the part of our psyche that contains everything that we were forced to reprimand or hide, all of our flaws, our setbacks, our darkest secrets, the things that we're ashamed of. All of that gets pushed there. And it also contains all of our suppressed needs and wishes, any sexual wishes we might, you've got all those families that are out there that, if you're gay, then it's shameful and horrible. And, you suppress all of that stuff,
Hmm.
that this is
Hmm.
wrong.
Hmm.
Even parents that are accepting of whatever's going on, they
Hmm.
still are putting onto you whatever they were taught.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you're being tainted, so to speak, by outside influences. And when you're a child, you don't know what yourself is. You're being
Hmm.
taught by what other people
Hmm.
think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have the Christian parent who's like, you should never have sex before you get married, and all of these things. So if you do, we push that into our shadow selves. Oh, I shouldn't have
Hmm.
done that. I'm
Hmm.
guilty. I feel
Yeah,
guilty.
you
I feel
feel
bad.
bad. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
The hard part with shadow work is that we pull all of that stuff back out again, all of those negative
Yeah.
reactions, and it's
Yeah.
painful. It hurts,
It's
and
like
it
it's
makes
raw.
it is raw. That's a great word. As you have to face all that again, you get
Hmm.
those raw feelings. So people don't want to do it. So why should you do it? Because a lot of people are like, hey, I'm perfectly fine right now. But are you really? I think everybody can be better than the person they are right now.
Hmm.
That is a never ending journey.
Hmm.
And so shadow work is meant to heal your shadow. All of those negative traits and behavior patterns, they can sabotage your life. Just like you were saying, you don't think that it's that way, but what's triggering you? You don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so you kind of delve into that, and you might find that your shadow self is sabotaging your work relationships, romantic relationships, even your familial relationships. So, shadow work helps you accept, love, and integrate those unwanted parts of yourself into your psyche. Because as long as you repress them, they're going to continue to influence you negatively.
Yeah.
And Jung, that like you were talking about, or
Hmm.
Young, I don't know how you pronounce his name. He said, until you make the subconscious conscious, it will lead your life, and we will call it fate.
Wow.
So you're going to think, oh, fate's leading to me to this, but really it's something deep in yourself that you can fix and change.
Hmm.
It's not fate.
Hmm.
And the longer you hide and suppress your shadow, the stronger it becomes. So basically, the benefits of doing shadow work is feeling whole or integrated as a person, improved interactions with others, healing generational trauma, which you talk about later, which is huge,
Yeah.
learning healthy ways to meet your needs without self-sabotaging, no, finding out that it's okay to meet your needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
I
know
mean, my main problem was I didn't even know where to begin. Like,
hmm
how do you do, shadow work?
Yeah.
Like, how do you
Yeah.
even do that without,
How do you
I mean,
start? What?
yeah, you can
Yeah.
sit down with like a therapist and all of that, but like,
Mhm.
it's how, and it's also important to note that shadow work in witchcraft can be like, it can depend on your specific tradition, your religion, your
Mhm.
path that you've been following, how you work as a practitioner, or just like how you've grown up, and
You
all of
know,
those things that have been suppressed. There's so many factors that go
and
into this.
witchcraft itself might be, you might still be in the broom closet, so to speak, as we like
Yeah.
to say, because your family is Catholic or Christian or Hebrew or whatever. That's not a religion, but whatever the religions are out
Mm.
there, um, you know, and so that could be part of your shadow, is the fact that you're wanting to explore the spirituality side, but you feel guilty doing
Yeah,
it because you
yeah.
think it's quote bad. So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, starting with like how you do it, like some witches might integrate their shadow work into their daily practices, while others might engage in specific rituals dedicated solely to the shadow exploration. So,
Hmm.
as many spiritual or psychological practices, it's like shadow work in witchcraft, it's intense and challenging. That's
It
what I want to
is.
say.
And that's part of why it took us so long to actually do an episode on this. And it
Yeah.
really is going to be multiple
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah. We're just doing like a quick, brief overview.
Hmm.
And like, I mean, I'm curious. So if I ever delve into this, then I will definitely share my experiences.
Hmm. For
But
sure.
it's also recommended that individuals interested in pursuing shadow work within magical contexts seek guidance from experienced practitioners, mentors, or teachers who can provide support and offer insight based on their own experiences. So
Hmm.
what we're saying is not us.
Yeah. Not us.
Not us.
Not it.
Yeah, not it. Like nose goes. And so, but I mean, what we kind of try to get together is understanding what it is and how you may be able to start, and that we're kind of like the little nudge, like the push,
Hmm.
the small little push that you need to begin.
And I think we're pushing ourselves
Yeah,
too.
we are. We definitely
Yeah,
are.
for sure.
So, what, like, the first thing that I would start by exploring is yourself. So self
Hmm.
exploration.
Hmm.
So we need to engage in shadow work by exploring our inner selves, addressing those emotions and fears and traumas with like also unresolved issues that might be
Yeah.
influencing our thoughts and actions. And so this beginning of exploration is often guided by magical practices or rituals that you have. So meditation, um,
Hmm.
dreams even can help you. Like
Hmm.
if you are one who can walk within your dreams, then that might even be also a way to access your subconscious.
Yeah, I feel like journaling is key.
That's a good
And
idea.
and it's a reason to go and buy more journals.
Buy
I
more
really do think
journals.
a dream journal, is going to tell you all kinds of things. When you start addressing your inner self, you're going to see
Yeah.
things. But journaling is a huge way to explore yourself. You can
Hmm.
express your thoughts, your emotions, your experiences, all related to your shadow aspects.
Yeah.
In my Bats and Bauble store, I am working on some shadow work journal prompts, because if you're like me, you look down at a blank page and you don't know what to write. You don't know where to begin.
Yeah. I mean, I look
It's
at the cute little
daunting.
notebooks that I have and I'm like, oh,
Yes.
I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to, all of that. But like that's the whole point of these things. And you
That is
can,
the whole
you
point of these
know,
things.
and
So,
I might actually use this one. Like in this one I got on our trip in Savannah. It's a cute little
yes.
squiggly, like it's actually made out of leather
Yeah, it's
cardboard
beautiful.
combo, and it's like really beautiful, and I haven't known what to do with it so far.
So,
And I
shadow work,
think I
maybe.
think shadow work feels right for this one.
Hmm. So, I am working on shadow work journal prompts and journal pages
That's a
for
good
you
idea.
guys. So, when I get them up for sale, I'll let y'all know.
Hmm.
Um, Probably will give them to our patrons for free.
Yeah. Well, quote unquote
But
free.
well, I mean, yeah, yeah, they
Yeah.
support us. So, but
Hmm.
to them, they don't have to buy them through my store.
Hmm.
But to start off with, go ahead and list all of those nasty thoughts and negative emotions that you experience often, things
Hmm.
that you've noticed that I always get mad when such and such happens, or, start writing that stuff down. And then list all of the undesirable and negative behaviors that you manifest when those triggers happen, when those emotions come up. What do you do?
Yeah.
How do you react to it? And then notice what did bring about those emotions and the behavior. And by making that trigger and consequence connection, you'll also then start to understand your dysfunctional patterns. So I do think journaling is going to be key in any kind of shadow work.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting because, I journal sometimes, I haven't, seen like the reason to for me just because I'm always go. I'd have no time to sit down and write a journal, but really having that and then being able to like fill up a notebook and then having maybe 3 or 4 full and then going back and referencing where you started versus where you are now is very important.
Well, and I think journaling makes you slow down. You said you're go.
Always.
You have to make the time to go make yourself a cup of tea, and you're going to sit and curl up on the couch with a blankie around your legs, and you're going to journal.
Yeah.
And that's you time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So, and you can make it into a ritual.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually very true. And then the next part after self-exploration, I want to talk about integration. So similar to the psychological concept, shadow work and witchcraft involves integrating the discovered shadow aspects into one's conscious awareness.
Yeah, you're bringing all that stuff
so now
from inside, outside.
And yes, exactly. So this integration might involve recognizing and accepting the dualities within oneself, such as light and darkness, positive and negative emotions, and various personality traits. And see, it's funny, because I think one of my reasons is like, you're supposed to be seen as happy all the time. You're supposed to be okay. And a lot of the times, you can say it's okay to not be okay, but like, deep down, you're probably in your mind, that guilty conscious, you're like, no, it's not. Like, you have to appear okay. You have to be fine.
It's really hard when you're a mother, because then you're worried about how your children are looking at you, and I can't cry in front of my children, or I can't be weak in front of my children. I want them to see a strong woman. I have to be strong in today's world. So it is very hard, and to take notice of those things, because like you said, we are all living life at the speed of light. We don't have time. And so you should start noticing these negative traits and how they're triggered in everyday life. And then you can start noticing is there a pattern? Is there a pattern to how you react? Is there a pattern, what do you see? How do others around you react? How could you change your behavior? I don't want to snap at my kids. I don't, so what would be a better way? And as you're consciously thinking of these things, it helps you sort through your unconscious issues.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a part of me is already doing kind of shadow work because I have severe anxiety. I have all these things, and I quote unquote want to be quote normal, where I can go out and enjoy myself without having to worry about my anxiety, without having to worry about anything. I just want to go do things like a normal person. I don't want to have that voice in the back of my head, like telling me, oh, don't have a good time because blah, 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 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so
I fear that comes out that paralyzes you from having a good time.
Yeah. And so, and part of that is what I think I've been calling embarrassment, because like, I don't want to embarrass myself in front of something, or I have anxiety, and in that is embarrassment. And I've been thinking about that a lot.
You take me with you, because then I embarrass me for both of us.
Yeah. No, but like, a part of that is already shadow work, already addressing.
You're right.
Said I snap at things. I have a short fuse, you said. And so I already acknowledge that I have that. I just haven't sat down and went deeper into the understanding why.
And what can I do about it, and what's causing it.
Yeah. And so off of that, how do you work it into rituals and magic and all of that?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
you can incorporate it with your rituals and magical practices to aid in the exploration and transformation of the shadow. So this can include spell work, meditation, energy work, divination, other magical techniques that help individuals or yourself, like you, me, anybody, confront and
Right.
process these shadows aspects. Because it's hard, you're like easier said than done. Yeah,
Right.
I can do that. I can tackle my fears. I can tackle why I feel like this and go deep down into my childhood trauma and to come out smiling at the end. Like, it's fine if you're covered in tears
Yeah.
and snot and you're
And
sweating or
you are
whatever it
going
may
to
be.
be. And that's the problem with trying to find time to do it, is because we know it's going to suck. So
Hmm. And you
why
don't
why
want
quote
to.
waste our
Yeah,
precious
it's
time?
hard.
It is hard, but it's got to be done. I think
Yeah.
the meditation thing that you said is huge. I think
Hmm.
that's a key
Hmm.
role in learning about yourself. It can help you self-reflect. It can give you that introspection, that connection with your inner self. We're always talking about looking for our higher selves,
Yeah.
but this time we're looking for our inner
Inner self.
selves.
Yeah. Which I think is
And
super powerful.
I think, you Ren does guided meditations. She's got a couple up now.
Hmm.
And I think you might want to consider doing some shadow guided meditations to
That's a good
help.
idea.
Yeah, just to help people start. I mean, you can't go in depth, not at the amount of time that you have on our Patreon that you post those things, but you can help people start to connect to their inner selves.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I would really enjoy that. I would love to do actual meditation with you. I wish we lived closer so that we could do a
Yeah.
morning ritual, go and do some meditation together. I think
Hmm.
that would be amazing.
Hmm.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
But another way to use ritual is a mirror type scenario, not like a real mirror, but like an imaginary mirror where you think about a person that you don't like, or that you have a really difficult relationship with, or a difficult time communicating with. We all know those people. We all have people where we're just like, I don't like her, or I don't like him. I can't,
Hmm.
it's so hard to talk to this person. Okay. Think of that person and then list 3 traits that you hate or dislike. I guess hate's a strong word, that you dislike most about them. And then 3 traits that you actually admire about them. And then examine those traits and whether you have them too. It is quite common for you to have those traits that you really dislike in that person.
Hmm.
And that might be why you dislike them, is because, but that's a great way to do some deep delving into, is to pick a person outside of you, because it is so hard to go, well, where do I begin? I don't know what to
Yeah.
begin. So yeah,
Yeah.
everybody knows a person they don't like very much. So yeah, sit down and do this mirror thing and try to see what parts of them that do I have that I don't like about them. It's eye-opening for sure.
Hmm.
And then another example of a ritual that you might do is creating a symbolic representation of your shadow self. So, we've done the work up in the journal before and we've come up with some traits. Draw a picture of yourself, and maybe inside that figure, list all those shadow aspects. And then you could perform a ritual to accept those parts. Say out loud a loving affirmation, or perform a gesture of self acceptance, something that we acknowledge. We're not trying to banish it anymore. We're trying
Hmm.
to say, this is part of me, and I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
I mean, there's so many more things when we go into more depth. We'll talk a lot more about stuff
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah. Another thing you can use is symbolism.
Hmm.
It's just anywhere that you can start, self-exploration, integration, and then, how you can incorporate that with your magic, and then symbolism. Within witchcraft, there's a lot of symbols, like
For
symbolism that we
sure.
have, and magical tools that represent different aspects of our life, and our psyche. And so the symbols can help practitioners, or, you connect with the subconscious and facilitate the process of shadow work.
I love that. That I had never thought of symbolism as being a use for shadow work, but
Hmm.
I think that is really smart because a lot of times symbols do come from our inner self.
Yeah.
When we do divination, a lot of times it's our inner self telling us stuff. One of our patrons, Jessica, she loves to use numbers. So for her, I feel like numerology would be a great way for her to delve into what her shadow self is trying to tell her, because she just connects really well with numbers.
Hmm.
So numbers are everything to her. And I think she should pay attention to the numbers that come up,
Yeah.
because it might mean something about something that she's holding within inside herself that she doesn't realize.
No, yeah, that's
For
very
sure.
true.
Hmm.
Anything that can help you
Yeah, I
symbolism
mean, and
wise, anything that's
not
it
just
doesn't even
numbers, but
yeah, it doesn't even have to be
bunny
like a
rabbits or
drawing. It doesn't have to be a sigil. It could be literally, if you have a favorite cup, that could be
yeah.
your symbol. Like, it doesn't have to be
Hmm.
anything witchy, like
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be like that. The
Hmm.
next thing is empowerment. Shadow work in witchcraft isn't solely about confronting negative aspects, it's also a path to empowerment.
Hmm.
So, as you gain a deeper understanding of yourself and strengths and your potential, you can start embracing your shadow and
Hmm.
become, and as witches, you can become more whole and balanced individuals.
That's actually kind of brilliant. I never thought about the empowerment side. I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking about all the stuff you have to go through, but not what you get on the other side. And empowerment I mean, it is good to confront the
Yeah, it's
shadows in
very
yourself.
empowering to
It
get
is
from the beginning
empowering.
to the end. I mean, and it's not, there's no end really. It's, you keep building on yourself and understanding why you have all these negative thoughts and emotions. And, you might be working on it for years, and then something that you didn't even know came up, in your
For
from your
sure.
childhood or whatever.
Which is, I mean, I think you were going to talk about ancestral healing.
Yes. So also with ancestral healing, you have some forms of shadow work within that, where you explore your ancestral patterns and your
Yes.
traumas and energies that might have been passed down through generations. This
Hmm.
can involve rituals aimed,
Rituals.
yeah, at healing and releasing those ancestral influences.
I think this is a whole topic by itself and another place for journaling for sure. If you want to explore your ancestors and see where you think an ancestral negativity came from, then maybe you can heal it and stop it from being passed to the next generation.
Yeah.
You're right. If there's a history of violence in your family, you could be the one to break that generational trauma.
Hmm.
You can stop it. It could be
Hmm.
you, and you could be the ancestor to set free your future
Yeah.
children,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can learn from the looking at the shadows, ancestral shadows, to find a better way, a healthier way to deal with your own children.
This is like last but not least, like there's so
Hmm.
much more that we can talk about, but alchemy and transformation, where shadow work often involves a process of alchemy, where you can aim to transmute your emotional and psychological challenges into personal growth, wisdom, and magical power through any means of
I
alchemy.
I feel like that's actually the definition of shadow work. That we should have probably put at the
In the
top and
front.
said, this is the definition of what shadow work
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It is the transformation of our shadow selves into
Hmm.
growth and light.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think the transformative potential of shadow work lies in its ability to bring light to our darkness. By
Yeah.
exploring our shadow self, we can identify our limiting beliefs, our patterns, our behaviors, things that have kept us from fulfilling ourselves.
Yeah.
And that life is short, so
Hmm.
we want
Hmm.
to help ourselves enjoy this life as best we can and be the best that we can be while we're here.
Yeah.
So, as we've said, shadow work has many layers. We're going to probably do individual episodes on each part of working with that. But for now, that's all we've got.
Yes, that's all we have. Shadow work, again, is something very extensive. And I mean, you guys are probably going, that's it. That's it for now,
But how do we do it?
It's like you just need to start look in your inner self. I know it's easier said than done, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, people aren't comfortable going to a therapist, which would be a great place to start.
Yeah.
So, and some people don't even have the money to do that. So just start journaling.
Yeah.
This is the basic stuff that we just talked about.
Yeah, the basics. But you can find us and everything that we basically have on our website at www.c3witchypodcast.com. There you will find links to our social media, links to our episodes, our blog, links to our merch, which our merch is at www.c3witchypodcastmerch.com. And our website also has more, as well as like our Patreon and Buzzsprout subscriptions, where you can get our After Dark series, where we post a couple times a month, depending on the schedule. And you get on Patreon, you get extra goodies like journal pages, to-do lists, guided meditations, spells, recipes. We posted a couple Q&As, just to interact with each other. So I think that's it. Oh yeah. Also our merch. Don't forget, we have it's limited edition. So get it now or you'll never get it again.
For sure. Limited time only.
Limited time only. But I think that's it. So,
I think so.
Until then, or we'll be back.
We'll be back. And until then, stay witchy.
Woof.